Listen to me for a moment, because what I am about to say may explain things you have been feeling, but could never fully name. What if the trouble in your home did not begin with noise but with something quiet? What if the pressure, the heaviness, the strange tension, the restless nights, the sudden fear, the constant unease did not come through some big obvious attack, but through small things you stopped noticing a long time ago? Stay with me, because this may hit closer than you expect. The enemy does not always arrive looking dangerous. Sometimes it enters dressed as art, sometimes it hides inside a gift, sometimes it sits on a shelf, hangs on a wall, plays through a speaker, or rests beside your bed looking harmless while slowly poisoning the atmosphere around you. And little by little, peace leaves, clarity fades, joy weakens, and your home starts feeling like a battlefield instead of a refuge. If you have ever walked into a room and felt something was just not right, if you have ever prayed but still sensed resistance, if you have ever wondered why peace comes and goes so quickly, then do not scroll away. Watch this to the end, because some doors do not open with keys, they open with permission. And today those doors can be closed. We live in a time where many people only trust what they can see, touch and measure, and because of that they ignore what is happening in the spirit. But what is visible and what is invisible are deeply connected. Your home is not just wood, paint, furniture and decor. It carries atmosphere. It carries influence. It carries what you allow to remain inside it. That is why some homes feel light and calm, while others feel heavy, tense and drained. It is more than mood. It is more than design. It is more than taste. A house can look beautiful on the outside and still feel troubled on the inside. You can pray in it, sleep in it, eat in it, laugh in it, and still sense that something keeps resisting your peace. Maybe you have tried to ignore it. Maybe you called it stress. Maybe you said it was just exhaustion. But sometimes the problem is deeper. Sometimes the issue is not only what is happening to you. Sometimes it is also what has been allowed around you. Keep listening, because this is where many people miss it. Not every item in a home is neutral. Not everything people call normal is harmless. Some things carry history. Some things carry meaning. Some things carry agreement. And what you keep near you can affect what grows around you. One of the first places to look is your walls, your shelves, your corners, the pieces you display with pride and barely think about anymore. Objects that look artistic can still carry dark meaning. Decor tied to false worship, symbols linked to occult practice, ritual masks, images celebrating death, pieces that glorify darkness, strange figures, spiritual signs, wall hangings tied to astrology, and items used in old ceremonies may seem cultural or stylish, but they can still shape the atmosphere of a room. People often say, it is only decoration, but symbols matter, they speak, they represent, they point to something, and when a home is filled with images and objects that do not reflect truth, peace can slowly weaken without anyone understanding why. Take a slow look around your space. What is hanging there? What is sitting there? What story is it telling? What spirit does it honor? This is not about panic. It is about discernment. If something in your home makes darkness feel welcome, it does not belong there. And let me say this plainly. Just because something came from another country, from an old market, from a family friend, or from a meaningful trip, does not mean it should stay in your house. Some souvenirs carry more than memory. Some art carries more than style. And if this is already making you think of something in your own home, do not ignore that feeling. Then there are the things people wear close to the body. Jewelry, charms, rings, bracelets, necklaces, little accessories that seem small but can carry deep spiritual weight. Some items are not just fashion. Some were prayed over, used in rituals, dedicated in ceremonies, or connected to beliefs that pull people away from truth. You may think you are only putting on a chain or a bracelet, but if that object was charged with dark intent, you may be carrying something far heavier than metal or stone. And sometimes the signs show up quickly, a sudden heaviness, strange thoughts, restlessness, irritation, fear, confusion that seems to arrive without warning. People dismiss it, but not everything is random. And right next to this is another door many homes leave wide open. Books, manuals, journals and teachings filled with spiritual counterfeits. Books about spells, energy control, star signs, tarot, manifesting power without God, crystal rituals, secret knowledge, spirit guides, and every form of dressed-up darkness sold as wisdom. Not everything on a shelf is safe just because it is printed nicely and marketed as self-growth. Some pages carry poison, some words invite confusion, some teachings train the mind to welcome deception. If you are feeding your spirit from voices that celebrate rebellion, why be surprised when your inner peace becomes unstable? Keep watching, because this is where many people realize the problem was in the house all along. And yes, even the things that look innocent can become part of the problem. Dolls, figurines, carved images, little statues, handmade pieces, mythical creatures, fantasy icons, antique toys, decorative beings people treat like collectibles. The dark does not always come looking ugly. Sometimes it comes looking beautiful, rare, expensive, emotional, or sentimental. That is why people keep it. That is why they defend it. That is why they say it belonged to someone I loved, or it is only a toy, or it is just part of the room. But if something in your house keeps stirring fear, strange dreams, uneasy sleep, or a feeling of being watched, do not be so quick to laugh it off. Then there are crystals and healing stones, which have been made trendy, polished, and sold as tools for balance, power, protection, and positive energy. But many people do not realize they are building spiritual dependence on created things instead of the Creator. A rock on a shelf may look harmless, but when it becomes a source of hope, control, or spiritual trust, something is already out of order. This is not about fear of objects. It is about refusing false replacements. The point is simple. If something is taking the place of truth, if something is being treated like a source of power, if something carries spiritual confusion, it has no place in a home meant to be full of peace. Stay with me, because we are not done. This goes deeper than decor. What enters a home is not only physical, it also comes through speakers, screens, headphones, and constant background noise. Music that glorifies lust, violence, rebellion, and darkness can shape an atmosphere faster than people realize. Movies that normalize witchcraft, mock holiness, celebrate evil, and make darkness look exciting do more than entertain. Games that feed fear, horror, rage, obsession, and spiritual numbness can open the door to heaviness, especially when people spend hour after hour living inside those worlds. What you repeat becomes normal. What you celebrate grows stronger. What you make space for begins to shape your home. And many people are asking for peace while constantly streaming confusion into every room. Listen carefully. You cannot fill a house with noise that glorifies darkness and then wonder why the atmosphere feels heavy. You cannot feed your mind with chaos all week and expect your spirit to stay sharp. This is where you need honesty. What is always playing in your home? What voices are filling the air? What shows are normal in your living room? What games are being played in your children's rooms? What channels are teaching your family without your permission? This matters more than people think. The enemy does not care if the content is popular. It does not care if millions watch it. If it pulls your heart away from truth, dulls your discernment, and weakens your peace, it is not harmless. And if this part is uncomfortable, good. Sometimes discomfort is where freedom begins. Then there are the old things, the inherited things, the gifted things, the items you did not buy but still kept. Old furniture, family boxes, necklaces passed down through generations, chests, paintings, letters, decorative pieces, objects from relatives whose spiritual life was dark, confused, or openly rebellious. People often keep these things because they feel guilty throwing them away. They call them heirlooms. They call them precious. They call them history. But not every inheritance is a blessing. Some things carry sorrow. Some things carry trauma. Some things carry a long trail of bondage, confusion, fear, and pain. This is why you must not only ask what an item is worth, you must ask what it carries. You must ask what has been attached to it. You must ask what kind of history comes with it. Some people have prayed for years about repeated patterns in their lives without ever considering what remains in their home from an old season, an old person, or an old bondage. If a cycle keeps repeating, if a room keeps feeling wrong, if peace keeps fading for no clear reason, then it may be time to question what has been sitting there untouched. And let me add this, because many need to hear it. Just because a gift came from someone kind does not mean it came from a clean place. Love does not cancel spiritual reality. Sentiment does not erase spiritual residue. If something feels wrong, do not keep it out of politeness. Freedom is more important than appearances. So what do you do now? Start with honesty. Walk slowly through your home and look again, not casually, not quickly. Look with intention. Open the drawers, check the shelves, look under the bed, check the closet. Examine what is hanging on the wall. Search what is stacked in storage. Review what is on the bookcase. Look at what sits by the front door, what rests beside the couch, what decorates the hallway, what has been sitting in your room for years without question. Do not rush this. Some things hide in plain sight. Begin with your bedroom, because the place of rest should not be carrying confusion. Then go to your children's rooms. Parents, you are not only providers of food and clothes, you are guardians of atmosphere. What is in that room? What toys are there? What posters are there? What media is playing there? What symbols are becoming familiar there? Then move to the living room, where conversation, energy and influence gather. What sits on the table? What is always on the screen? What kind of music fills that space? What kind of spirit feels comfortable there? And do not forget the things tucked away in boxes, stored in closets, hidden in cabinets, because they are not really being used. What is hidden can still influence what is happening. If this feels intense, stay with me. This is not about becoming extreme, it is about becoming awake. A peaceful home is worth protecting. A clear atmosphere is worth guarding. And sometimes peace returns only after compromise leaves. As you begin to remove what does not belong, do not be surprised if you feel resistance. That happens. When hidden things are exposed, tension often rises before peace settles in. Some people feel emotional, some feel tired, some suddenly start second-guessing themselves. Some feel a strange pressure to keep what they already know should go. But do not mistake that resistance for a sign to stop. Sometimes it is proof you have touched the root. You do not need to panic. You do not need to live in fear. You do not need to obsess over every object in terror. What you need is clear obedience. What you need is courage. What you need is the willingness to say, if this does not belong, it will not stay. There comes a point where you must stop negotiating with what keeps stealing your peace. Stop making excuses for it. Stop explaining it away. Stop postponing what needs to happen now. Bag it up. Remove it. Throw it out. Break agreement with it. And after you do not leave the atmosphere empty. Fill your home intentionally. Speak truth in every room. Pray with authority. Let peace be invited where confusion used to sit. Let light replace heaviness. Let worship replace noise. Let truth replace mixture. This is not only about taking something out, it is about making room for something better. And if you are still here, that matters, because many people hear truth, feel conviction, and then do nothing. Do not be one of them. The reason this matters so much is simple. Many people keep asking why their prayer life feels blocked, why their peace feels unstable, why their sleep feels troubled, why breakthrough feels delayed, why tension keeps returning, why certain rooms feel oppressive, why the house feels heavy, even after all the cleaning, all the organizing, all the effort to make it look better. But atmosphere is not healed by appearance alone. A room can be spotless and still spiritually crowded. A house can be expensive and still carry confusion. You can decorate over a problem and never solve it. You can hide the contradiction and still live under its effect. Sometimes the answer is not more noise, more effort, more motion, or more talking. Sometimes the answer is removal. Remove what feeds darkness. Remove what honors confusion. Remove what keeps mixing light with compromise. Then watch what changes. Clarity starts returning. Rest starts coming back. Discernment becomes sharper. Prayer becomes cleaner. Worship feels lighter. The air feels different. The home feels safer. The mind feels quieter. Why? Because interference has been cut off. Static has been reduced. And what was once tolerated is no longer being empowered. If this is speaking to you, do not just agree with it in your mind. Act on it. Truth only transforms when it is obeyed. And sometimes the shift you have been begging for begins with one honest decision in one room in your own house. Do not stop at removing the object. Renounce the agreement behind it. Speak clearly over your home. Declare that every dark influence is leaving. Declare that every false attachment is broken. Declare that every room belongs to truth, peace, and the presence of God. Walk through your home with purpose. Pray in the bedroom. Pray in the hallway. pray in the kitchen, pray at the front door, pray in the children's rooms, pray in the spaces where tension used to sit. You do not need fear to do this. You need confidence. You are not trying to impress darkness. You are establishing what is allowed and what is not. And let me say this carefully, because some people need balance here. This is not about becoming suspicious of everything and everyone. It is not about living in anxiety. It is not about superstition. It is about spiritual wisdom. It is about refusing to host what steals peace. It is about becoming alert instead of passive. There is a difference. A guarded home does not have to be a fearful home. A clean atmosphere does not require panic. It requires clarity. It requires truth. It requires the courage to choose peace over sentiment, freedom over nostalgia, and obedience over delay. If something must go, let it go. If something must stop, let it stop. If a door must close, close it fully. Half obedience leaves room open. Full obedience changes the atmosphere. And that atmosphere affects not just you, but your children, your thoughts, your rest, your conversations, and the future being formed inside those walls. From this day on, become more watchful about what enters your home. Do not just accept every gift because it looks nice. Do not just buy every object because it is trending. Do not just stream every show because it is popular. Do not just let every influence settle into your space because everyone else calls it normal. Learn to inspect before you accept. Learn to pause before you bring things in. Learn to ask what kind of atmosphere something creates. Does it bring peace or disturbance? Does it sharpen truth or blur it? Does it invite rest or leave a strange heaviness behind? That question alone can save people from a lot of trouble. And remember this too, your home teaches. It teaches your children what is normal. It teaches your own heart what is welcome. It teaches your mind what is familiar. So build a place where peace feels normal. Build a place where truth feels normal. Build a place where light is not visiting for a moment but dwelling there steadily. This is how strong homes are formed, not only with walls and money and furniture, but with wise choices, clear boundaries, and spiritual attention. If you have been too casual before, change that today. If you have been ignoring the warning signs, stop ignoring them. If you have been feeling that something is wrong, do not silence that inner alert anymore. Sometimes that quiet nudge is mercy. Sometimes exposure is the beginning of healing. Sometimes the breakthrough starts when you stop tolerating what has been quietly working against you. So rise up and take responsibility for your atmosphere, not tomorrow. Now, walk through your house with open eyes, remove what needs to go, shut every door that has been left open. Clear the shelves, the screens, the sounds, the symbols, the objects, the influences, and the old agreements that have no place in your home anymore. Let your home become a place of rest again. Let it become a place of clarity again. Let it become a place where peace is not a visitor but a resident. This is your moment to stop being passive. This is your moment to stop excusing what has been draining you. This is your moment to stop trying to live in freedom while holding on to what keeps feeding bondage. You do not have to stay stuck in strange cycles. You do not have to keep living under unexplained heaviness. You do not have to keep tolerating what should have been removed a long time ago. Make the decision. Clean house. Clear the air. Reclaim the atmosphere. And when you do, stand there and declare with boldness that your home will not be a resting place for confusion, fear, darkness, or compromise. Let every room come under peace. Let every corner come under truth. Let every influence be tested. Let every false thing be removed. And let your house become what it was always meant to be. A place of life, a place of rest, a place of light, and a place where peace can finally stay.